Hello, welcome back to another podcast episode of the Transfer Portal CFB, presented by NoContextCFB, of course. I'm Liam Blutman. What's up? College football's in a weird state right now. It's the off season, and we're kind of just desperate for any of our news, right? So we'll dive into Auburn, and I'll let my other hosts today, Josh and Doug, introduce themselves. Doug, how are you doing today?
Doing good, everybody. It's been a pretty good week so far. Georgia's the national champion again, so I get to enjoy that. And Auburn's suffering again, which I can enjoy until they actually take care of the situation. Then I'll be upset. But until that happens, I'm A-okay over here.
Josh, you got the Bengals jersey on. Super Bowl week. How you doing?
I'm good. I will admit I have the Burrow jersey on. Loving it, loving the ride. But I did pick in the preseason, I did pick the Rams. So honestly, either way for me, I'm gonna look awesome. I've got the Olympics on another tab, so I apologize if I'm distracted. And yeah, I'm ready to talk about as Doug would say, Auburn's a mess. And that's fun when Auburn's a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to put it. Auburn is a complete dumpster fire right now. The Bryan Harsin situation is not it's not where, Auburn doesn't want to be in the spot, but I mean, they're here and they're gonna deal with this some way. We'll see what happens. For those that are somehow unfamiliar with what's going on in Auburn, said Auburn weird there. I don't know why. Bryan Harsin had a very poor first season coaching, 6-7. And then, you know what? Players left, coaches left, 20 plus players left. That's crazy. And a lot left solely due to Bryan Harsin. Then you have a multitude of coaches that left. Austin Davis, we saw left like 2 weeks after getting hired. Derek Mason just left for Oklahoma State to take a massive pay cut, like $400K pay cut. Like, this stuff isn't normal, what's going on. And it really speaks volumes to, I guess, what Bryan Harsin is, right? Like, I'm interested to hear what you're going to say on this topic, Doug, as a SEC. I won't call them rivals, but as an SEC foe, right? Like,
Oh no, they're rivals. Like, let's just not.
Okay, fine, right? It's just not super big hate, but you hate them.
Oh no, it's super big hate. Like, outside of Cocktail Party, it's the second most hated between both schools. Like,
all right, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I was just looking at from the Auburn side and thinking Alabama. So.
Oh no, Alabama's clearly number one because that's in-state.
Yeah.
No, but besides the point. So Harsin, to be honest, I don't think really wanted Arsenal. He didn't want the Auburn job to begin with. He just wanted to get out of Boise because he realized that program had a ceiling. For some reason, Auburn decided to hire him out of everybody. I know they wanted Kevin Steele. The majority of the booster base wanted Kevin Steele to be at Auburn. And if Harsin does get fired, that would probably be my pick. Mainly because, like I said, you got to follow the money. The money wanted him there. But back to Bryan. He did not want to stay at Boise. He knew it was time. And you heard rumors that he was looking to go to UW this past offseason when they fired Jimmy Lake. And you saw those rumors pop up, which didn't make sense to begin with because he was one of those coaches that were clearly not vaccinated and didn't disclose his status. But he's always had that prying eye. He's more natural fit out west. He doesn't have ties to the region like that. So between that, the losing streak to end the season, and his general abrasive nature, which led to the players and coaches transferring, I don't think this will be a resolution that will have both Bryan and Auburn stay together for a long period of time. I think he does stay for a year or two more until the buyout gets reduced, or the Gus buyout gets reduced as well. But right, everybody's saying it's too much money to let him go unless it's for a cause. And if it's not going to be for cause, they're kind of stuck unless he completely bottoms out next year, which is totally possible given the amount of attrition that happens at that program.
And to that money you're alluding to right there, that's a lot of money.
It's not pretty, y'all. You got to pay to play.
Yeah, Auburn is in quite a interesting spot here, Josh. Let's hear your thoughts on what's going on.
Yeah, so I've heard this said a few times about how Harsin coaches. He's a coach who has a hammer and nothing else, and he'll use his hammer in whatever the situation is. And sometimes that's good. Like, he was brought in to kind of be like a ball coach, but you can't really just be a ball coach. Another one of his problems was that he wasn't to take the phrase, he wasn't kissing babies and shaking hands. Like, he closed off the media a lot. He closed off the SID, the sports information director. There's a little thing, but he didn't go to Bo Jackson's golf tournament. And that might seem a little, but this is the Deep South. This is Auburn. This is Bo Jackson. You're the head coach of Auburn. You go to Bo Jackson's thing and at least show your face for get the pictures and then wave and smile. And then you can leave quietly, but you got to at least show up. And it's just that he just, I guess, he just doesn't know how to deal with being SEC head coach. Like, in Boise, it's fine. You're up there. There's nothing going on. You play football, you do your sports, whatever. But as we all know, in the SEC, it's different, and you have to be different. And he's not ready for it, apparently. And so, I don't know. Maybe they'll probably find some cause and fire him, and then deal with the lawsuit later. But yeah, I have no idea. He's just in a bad situation. It was a bad situation because there was the booster revolt to hire Kevin Steele, and I mean, it's just Auburn. Auburn's always been like this. Cam Newton won them that one title, and then it's all well. I mean, they went back to the other title, but besides that, it's just been crazy story here, crazy story there. It's a, like what Liam said, it's a dumpster fire. It's fun, but it's a dumpster fire.
It's fun. It is fun. Feel bad for all my Auburn friends. I mean, we've kind of alluded to cause here, right? We kind of know what Auburn is trying to use as that cause. It's kind of very clear to us. Look, man, that's something that you're sitting on and that happened, and you're only throwing that blackmail out there when you really want the coach gone. Like that, this stuff with the affair and the all the other stuff. I don't want to get into detail. Not sure what we're able to say and not to say, but that stuff happens at programs almost everywhere, whether it's Auburn or Northwest Idaho Tech A&M. That stuff just happens. That stuff just happens in college football, and it doesn't get exposed unless somebody is doing a really bad job at their job and they want to use cause to get them out. So I mean, we know the cause that Auburn's going to want to use. Harsin has disputed this as false. I won't say her name, but we know the girl got hired away from Boise State, where she was with Harsin, got hired and got a pretty good promotion at Auburn. That's Auburn's fan base been going pretty crazy with the conspiracy theories. I'm sure both of you are aware. I mean, that stuff's going crazy, man. I don't they're just stuck. They're in such a weird spot. I don't know. They have to get rid of Harsin ASAP, in my opinion. What are your guys' takes?
I think he's cooked. They have to get rid of him. I don't think they can get rid of him now. Because thoroughly, the last two coaches have been hired real late have been Lance Leopold because of Les Miles' misconduct, and Buffalo coach that replaced him, whose name is escaping me right now. But outside of that, I think their best option would be interim for a year, reassess the coaching market, because a lot of these main coaches are set. in terms of who they hire. Because think about it, Timmy Chang got hired a week, 2 weeks ago, and he was just a position coach. He wasn't even an offensive coordinator. So, like, if you're trying to hire somebody like now, your best shot would either be a Power 5 assistant, NFL assistant, because at least those carousels are still like, I mean, at least the assistant carousel is pretty much still fresh enough. But in terms of like hiring a way head coach, I don't think that's truly possible. I don't think that you'd hire somebody from the Sun Belt this late. I don't think you'd hire anybody from Sun Belt's really the only option. Conference USA is, you still need to step up from Conference USA. But NFL assistants, I can see that. But with the class that they already have signed, the only thing I could see is an interim at this point for this whole season, and then they'll start fresh.
We'll talk about our 3 potential head coaching fits here in a bit. Before we get to that, we could just go through this thread, which highlights what players have said about Harsin. Like, again, in one season, Harsin lost. Well, he never had it, right? He never had any like relationships with these players. The players never felt connected with him. They never felt like they could go and talk with him. I mean, again, coaches bailed on him ASAP when given the opportunity. 20 plus players hit the portal ASAP, and like some really good players. So let's just go through his thread and look at some of what was said. Smoke Monday on Instagram, probably IG Live, going out there and saying Bryan Harsin's good. And this is a common theme. The players say he's good. And you'll see what Kobe Hudson says in a bit, but they say he's good, wants to win, but he has no idea how to relate to his players. He has no idea, like what, like Smoke says he came from nothing. Harsin's unable to relate with that. And then Smoke goes and says, he hasn't had one single conversation with my mother or my father. How on earth is that happening in this day and age, especially? How does a coach not go out there and at least introduce himself to one of the best players on this Auburn defense? How does Bryan Harsin not go and say, "Hey, Mr. and Miss Monday, how are you doing? I'm looking forward to coaching your son this season." Like, now that happens.
Yeah, and really like, it's not just this is now and today and everything. This is since the beginning of time. Coaches and parents, they're the ones who talk to be like, all right, how's your kid doing? Da, 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 da. Mostly for recruiting, but also like while they're there and like, making sure they're all good. And they haven't, and he hasn't. It's when I saw that, it's just mind boggling because like you were saying, Liam, you have to know everybody. You can't just know the player. You have to know everybody.
It's just
like how go on, Doug.
It's a mess. No, because like that's the one thing that people were mentioning. This is somewhat related about Brian Kelly and dealing with families in the South. Like Brian Kelly, for the most part, has coached north of the Mississippi. He's coached pretty north. Like you got to relate to these Southern kids. You got to relate to them. You got to adapt. You got to deal with their families and like learn how to interact with them, eat their food. Like he knows the recruiting game, but it's totally different. Like because their families are way more involved. I'm not saying that the families up north aren't as involved, but like it's a lot more community feel. You know what I'm saying? And bringing a guy that's from Idaho to Alabama, it's not really ideal in order to build those relationships. He doesn't have that experience. So it got him in trouble here. It's either adapt or die. And folks aren't really trying to find out, which I don't blame him because he hasn't been willing.
Yeah, I think that like you go 6-7 your first year at Auburn, tough schedule, tough opponents that you're playing every year. Like, okay, but it's also really worrisome when just after one season Again, 20 players transfer, a bunch of coaches leave. All these things are already being said by former players who were playing for him a month ago, right? And they're already coming out here and saying all these things. Like, that's so worrisome. It's so I mean, like, you have to get out of this. Auburn has to get out of this. I'm sure they will in the next few days, as you can see on the banner below. It's probably happening imminently. But like, how does that happen one season in and you've completely lost a fan base like that? Like, that's impressive. It's impressive to be that awful and lose a fan base like that. Here's what Kobe Hudson said. He speaks highly. He says, if Harsin was able to relate to the people, he could be the next Nick Saban. On my mama. All right. I think he goes a little too far with this. I don't think
too far.
Yeah, he goes way too far with this. Kobe transferred to UCF, pretty dang good receiver. Was fun to watch in their bowl game, but he goes way too far with this. But it's just kind of speaking to how Auburn players thought of Bryan. Lee Hunter says, just let us focus on football. This year with him, bruh, you couldn't have your mind just focused on football. These folks don't understand, bruh. Clearly frustrated, clearly isn't feeling like a connection at all, which, again, a common theme. Back to Kobe Hudson, who says it's a dictatorship. He never cared about what these players thought. How are you going to build a winning program without relating to your players, without speaking to them, without checking in on them, making sure they're okay? Like, what do you think was going to happen? Did you just go there for the bag and then was prepared to dip anyway? Like, what? I don't know, man. We ain't saying he's a bad man. We're just saying what he can improve on. And it's clear, it's very clear that there's a lot that Harsin needs to improve on, right?
Hey, but if he improves, he's Nick Saban.
Exactly. The bar was set very low. He only has to be Nick Saban next. Like, I don't know. I'll start with you, Josh.
Michigan State Nick Saban. Probably
Whoa,
Michigan State Nick Saban.
Even Michigan State Saban's a 10-win-a-year team.
All right, Miami Dolphins Nick Saban.
They went 9-7 one year.
Middle
Maybe
school
Toledo
Nick
Saban.
Yeah, Kent State. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know, Josh. I want to hear your potential head coach for Auburn the second that job opens.
The second, I haven't even like checked who their assistant coaches like in the building are. I'd probably say one of them, just for like, you can't really go pay, like Doug was saying, you can't really go unless they fire Wisconsin, but you can't really go pay another head coach or even like a good assistant to come over and be the new head coach. You probably have to just upgrade from within, and then that's less money. I have no idea who's there, and that's probably someone you're saying, hey, take this for a year. If you can like do good, then great, you get to keep the job, but like know that you're probably just going to go back to the position you were. And then if not, like if they're actually going to go out, I have no idea. You could take a dart and throw it at a map of the United States and be like, all right, this guy coaches here. There's so many, and like what Doug was saying earlier, it's so late in the process that you can't really get anybody that you want. And then if you do get someone, it's probably not going to work out that well. So I have no idea. Just up Auburn for stability. Maybe, Bruce Pearl could coach 2 sports, couldn't he? I mean, I know Auburn literally just lost to Arkansas, like as we're recording, but Bruce Pearl could do 2 sports.
And Bruce had a lot of fun at that football game. He and the basketball team were at this season. A name that it's been hilarious listening to these Auburn spaces too the last few nights and the head coach options that you hear. I've heard Clay Helton like twice. Like, what is going on in these fans' brains? But Hugh Freeze, they're said to be possibly gunning after Hugh Freeze, which I think is hilarious after firing Harsin for ethics and then going after and hiring Hugh Freeze right after that. It's hilarious. It really shows like yeah, it's just we don't care about the ethics. It's just straight up about he was 6-7. We found cause. Now let's go get another guy. You alluded to Steele earlier, Doug. I think that's who you're going with. He's a former Auburn DC. Is that your pick?
So he would be my pick if they go external, mainly because it's a seamless fit. He wanted the job, they wanted him. The issue is that the AD went with Harsin, but if I had to stick with an interim, give me Cadillac. Cadillac knows those guys. He's like he knows the program because he is the program before Cam became Cam, but he's on the staff. He's assistant running backs coach. It sucks because it'll be his first like true coaching experience, but like at the same time, he's your best option. He has some name value to kids in the area, to kids that know college football, that can help them at least because he's been like with Cadillac. He's like I said earlier, he's with the program, so on-field product might be a wash for this year, but Cadillac I know can help steady the ship and not be a stain on the university. At least that's what I was thinking in terms of if you do interim route. But
no, I love that.
Start, yeah.
It is so hard to think of because, like you said, like 19 times, it is so late into the cycle. So I don't know. I think I kind of went the same route with you, Doug. Kind of thinking wise, I went with a former Auburn player. He's currently UCF's DC. It's Travis Williams. He played linebacker at Auburn in the early 2000s. He's on Malzahn's staff right now at DC. It's going to be his first year as DC, but he's been at Auburn in the past, right? He played there. He was a GA there. He's coached there in the last few years too. This is a guy that the Auburn fan base absolutely adores. They're in love with him. Players have great connections with him too. And he has the unofficial pump up song for Auburn with Tiger Walk. Like the guy's a rapper too. Like I just feel the connection here with T Will and Auburn. I don't know. I would love to see him get a chance. Love to see Cadillac get a chance too. I think those are two really fun options.
Yeah, but like I mean, no, it's a great option. Like I'm agreeing with you there. It's just Auburn's fucked.
That's a good way of putting it.
There's really not much left to say there. So
it's typical Auburn. So it's fun for the rest of us.
There's just so many question marks when Harsin was hired too, and it's just comical that literally in one season everything got answered. Like, yeah, he's not built for this. Yeah, he doesn't know the culture. Like, we could put those question marks aside. He just doesn't know the culture in Auburn, and everything got put to rest right quick. Yeah, next thing we'll get into, Josh, you spoke about earlier, you got the Winter Olympics on another monitor. I know some people are really into that like you. Others aren't like me. Yeah, so we'll go with your idea here was taking a college football player and putting them in the Winter Olympic event. And I have no clue how this is going to go. I'll start with you, Josh. What do you got for us?
All right, so I went through all the events, and I know there's different variations of events, so I'll specify. Yeah. I'll run through these fairly quickly. So for alpine skiing, I got Sincere McCormick because you got to get low. You got to have good balance over a long distance, and I think McCormick's one of the best at that. The biathlon, so that's cross-country skiing / shooting. I don't really know for the cross-country skiing. I just pictured endurance, and also for shooting, got to be accurate. So I went with Grayson McCall because McCall, not just an accurate passer, a very good runner, and you got to have endurance if you're going to do that much. For bobsled, I went with the 2-person bobsled. You need a pusher and a pilot. So I got the duo of the pilot is Bryce Young and the pusher is Will Anderson. Because imagine Will Anderson pushing one of these bobsleds. He might push it off the track. Like that dude he could probably push 2 bobsleds and be awesome at it. Cross-country skiing, endurance, I went with Jamison Williams because he plays offense and special teams. So he's got that like long distance speed and the burst, and He plays a lot, so he's got the endurance there. Curling, it's a 4-team. It's 4 people per team, but I threw another 5th person. So you have like the person who throws the, what's it called? The stone out, CJ Stroud, and that's the person commanding it. And then you got Travion Henderson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, and Garrett Wilson as the sweepers. Figure skating, I went with pair skating, and I went with 2 of our the transfer portal goats. I went with Bailey Zappi and Jareth Stearns, because that just on the fact that duo is just so awesome. And also you need someone like the strong base at the bottom, and then you need the other person like throwing the other person in the air. So Stearns is clearly the one going up into the air and doing all the stuff. Freestyle skiing, you need a really just an overall great athlete. I went Derek Sting Jr. I think just speaking for the draft, I just think one just the best athletes in the draft. And I know he's been hurt and stuff, but he could strap it up and do freestyle skiing. Ice hockey, I got Kayvon Thibodeau because he's a really big dude and he's got really good balance, which is insane. So that'd be awesome. And it'd be kind of awesome to see Thibodeau just throw someone into the glass. Just imagining that's really fun. The luge, that's like skiing, or no, that's the weird thing where you like go down 2 people feet first. I got Jake Hayner and Jalen Cropper because those 2 guys were awesome together. But also sometimes you see like insane crashes in the luge, and it feels like Jake Hayner every single play was like getting hit again, getting up, getting hit again, but he could survive it. So that's awesome. Nordic combined, that's cross country skiing / ski jumping. And I literally just like remembered the Michigan State versus Penn State game to end the regular season. And it was just a bunch of snow everywhere, but Jahan Dotson was just being Jahan Dotson. And that's a good athlete, so he can do that. Short track speed skating, I immediately, this was the first one I thought of actually. I thought of Calvin Austin Jr. because you have to have burst, but also in speed track or in short track, there's like nowhere to pass. You have to like, you get like one hole for like a split second and you got to take it. And Austin is one of the best of that. And I am hoping that some NFL team takes him and realizes that you just get him the ball and just use him because he's awesome. Speed skating, slightly longer distance, Kenneth Walker III, because he's got the endurance again, but also great speed. Ski jumping, I just put Drake London because he's just a guy who, like on jump balls, that's all they threw to him at USC. Not that he can't do anything else, but he just excelled on jump balls. So imagine just him just going up in the air and ski jumping and doing like 10,000 flips and landing it easily. And then finally for snowboarding, I just went with an athlete. I just went with Bijan Robinson because that dude is crazy. And I know he's a little bit bigger than you usually want a snowboarder, but Bijan's a freak athlete, so he can do it. He'll be fine.
All right, some really good thoughts from you there, and went super in depth with what why you chose everything and why. So I think that was really cool. Doug, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so I am not as big on the Winter Olympics. Summer is my big stuff, but I'll go with the classics. So with curling, I will go with the Michigan offensive line, one of the best in the country. They can push them brooms on the ice, make sure they open whatever lanes need to be opened for the Curling Stones / Hassan Haskins, Blake Corum. So the Michigan offensive line, that is my curling team right there. Moving forward to the freestyle skiing. Wait, no, it's Alpine's the one where they just distance, right? Alpine's distance? Okay. Yeah. I need somebody that can jump and jump long. Give me my guy Brock. Brock. He's got a vertical, and he's the most athletic person I've seen in college football this year, which is saying something, because what he does should not happen for a guy his size. You saw him literally outrun the Bama defense. You've seen him make catches that should not have been made. Like, he's an all-around athlete. That's my guy right there. Honestly, if you put Brock Bowers in every single Olympic event, he's going to at least medal and everything. But Besides my point, and let me not cheat here. Moving forward to figure skating, and you need somebody that has nimble feet. Give me James Cook. I'm going full homer here, by the way, because we are national champions here. James Cook, that boy has quick feet, keeps his balance. So if you need to do a pirouette or you need to do a double axle, whatever you need, that's my guy right there. Keeps his balance whenever things are in the air. Don't have to worry about him. Moving forward to ice hockey, our front seven versus our offensive line. It's gonna be amazing battle. Can shoot up gaps. Can put the ball in the net. Actually, probably can't put the ball in the net against our defense, but that's beside the point. But like I said, national champions. Moving on to the decathlon. Not decathlon. What do you call it? The three-leg one.
I have no clue.
Josh, what's the 3-leg one? Where you do the shooting and then you ski and
Biathlon.
biathlon. That's what it is. Yeah, so biathlon. You know what? Give me Stet because he's had to run, he's had to pass. He hasn't really had to catch, but actually, no, give me Kenny McIntosh because he actually threw a touchdown in the Orange Bowl. He's thrown touchdowns, he's rushed for touchdowns, he's caught touchdowns. Kenny McIntosh, boom, biathlon, multi-sport, multi-talented athlete right there. But yeah, I mean, whatever competition there is, Georgia's going to win, unless it's men's basketball because they're absolutely horrendous at that. But everything else, we're just a beautiful, gargantuan institution. Sorry, I went full over, but
I mean, I did not. I picked one thing. You guys did the entire thing. You're making up events I've never heard of. I'm not an Olympics, dude. All I care about is hockey, and there's not even NHL players in it this year. And I only care about snowboarding, but that's because Sean Wyan literally put Gingers on the map. I don't know.
And he's retiring too.
And he's retiring. I know the Hirano brothers are dope Japanese snowboarders, though. I know that because of X Games. Dude, I have no clue. I put one thing. I put figure skating. I was not doing players that are leaving for the NFL or graduating. So I went with Fauope Lalaulu. Fauope Lalalulu, offensive lineman from Oregon to figure skate at 6'6", 360 pounds.
I can see it. He's probably a good athlete.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate the love. Yeah, went super. Thought. I don't know. I put a lot of thought into that one. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what you do in figure skating aside from skate. I don't know.
Hey man, you just gotta take in what the announcers are saying and regurgitate it. So just spit out quads, triple axle, balance, smoothness.
If you watch Blades of Glory, you'll be fine.
I mean, I did when I was like a little kid. I don't remember any of it. It wasn't like a movie.
It's a decent Will Ferrell movie. So like,
yeah, it's solid.
It's been forever.
I watched it like once and haven't. I watched it like once and don't retain much info from it. I don't know. Yeah, that was my big time Winter Olympic event. I don't know. I guess I could think of something else. Oh man, I think Chip Kelly. I'll go with the coach. I think Chip Kelly should not coach the hockey team. I don't think his unique sets would really work in hockey. His power play would be very odd. So let's not go with that. Oh, and Bryan Harsin. He should not. He should be coaching. I don't know, Russia. Good culture fit.
Yeah. That's. I mean, if we were to think about it, Russia is the Auburn of the nations competing. because Russia
I guess.
still technically isn't Russia because they're the ROC because of their
Yes, the
drug
Russian
program.
Olympic Committee.
That's very Auburn. So there we go, tying it all together. Look at that. Russia is Auburn.
The Auburn football program.
Speaking of, like, totally side note, like, what are your guys' thoughts on the Commanders?
Oh, it's a terrible team name that's going to get removed in like 10 years for being politically incorrect.
No, I love it because we can call them the commies.
Again,
I literally love that.
In like 10 years, that name is getting changed for being politically incorrect.
I was just so happy that a helicopter dude saw it and had the presence of mind to be like, "Oh, we got it. Let's go. So zoom this in. We got it." And it's like, come on, guys. You couldn't have even like kept down all the signage for your name release until like after you release the name. That's the Washington football team. That's Commanders now, commies. They're the Auburn of the NFL.
They're a finished institution. Like, they really are the Auburn of the NFL. Same scandals.
Do you like the name?
What? Oh, the name? It's not good. Like, the color scheme, it's really hard to mess up a color scheme like that. But when I saw the jerseys, if they didn't do that stupid, like, if I didn't do the stupid, like, W, like the old Washington W was fine for the football team. They kept that W instead of trying to, like, add, like, slits to it to make it, like, seem like puzzle pieces. Not a fan. But the circular seal is actually pretty neat. And then their black uniform is just awful.
The black uniform is horrendous.
Looks like it was made by Russell Athletic.
And the helmet's got like a W on the front, like where your forehead would be. That stuff is atrocious.
It's about as bad as the Jaguars two-tone helmet.
Terrible as well.
Goodness.
Helmet.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah, I'll wipe that from my memory.
I think I was in. Oh, that's a good thing I lost that from your memory. I think I was in the minority. I thought they should have just kept Washington football team because I thought it was funny. And
everybody wanted it.
No, I think because I think at this point everyone's
really? I got so much hate when I said that they should have kept Washington football team.
No, I think for the most part, people were like, they're just a team. They're just a team. They haven't been good since a long time. They're just a team. They're up there.
They're not even. No, finish up. Sorry.
They're not even in a state. They're in a district. They're just there. They're bad.
Technically, the team plays in the state.
That's
true.
They practice
in a different state.
That's true. It's like the New York Giants and Jets, whatever. They're there. They're a football team. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but like, so at least with a team, like people wanted like red wolves or hogs, like red whatever, because that way they can keep the HTTR, like hail to the red hogs or red tails or red wolves or something, whatever that way. But if it wasn't that, like Washington football team would have been fine, like because I'm from the area, so it's like it's fine. At least the Washington football team was fine, but this name, it's not good. It's not good.
It's terrible.
Stadium's some junk. They're trying to figure out where to build it. Probably build in Virginia instead of Maryland because DC I don't think is happening. So yeah, that team has a lot of issues, and then on top of that, they're getting sued every other week, just like Auburn. So.
Never want to go full Auburn.
Really don't.
No.
Really don't.
Like, I can't stop thinking about that. Those black uniforms are terrible.
They stink.
So bad. I mean, if they want to use HTTR, they could be the redheads. They could pay me.
That's how
they can pay me to get it. Yeah, I'll approve of the name if they give me a good money every year to use it. I don't know what else. What else we gotta talk about? I don't know if there is much else to talk about.
Do you think like there's ever like a bounce back opportunity I just want to let me look at their 2022 schedule. Auburn, because I want to see off the top of my head right now whether they can do anything of note. Okay, so they start off the season with Mercer, face San Jose State, Penn State at home, Missouri at home, LSU at home. They literally don't leave home until they go to Georgia mid-October. Yeah, they have 2 road games by the end of October. And then
they only have 4 road games.
Yeah, because they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, they have 8 home games. And on top of that, they're 8 home games, no neutral sites. Their road games are Georgia, Ole Miss, Miss State, and Alabama.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, jeez.
I mean, those are their road games. That's it. Like, their hardest home test is year 1 LSU, Penn State, and A&M. Oh, yeah, and Arkansas. Like, their home slate's is not great, but I'm thinking another 7-5 season.
Yeah, right, I'm trying like that. Hopefully Cadillac's coaching or T will.
All right, Mercer's a dub. San Jose's a dub. Penn State they lose to. They're 2-1. Missouri they win 3-1. LSU 3-2. Georgia lost 3-3. Ole Miss lost 3-4. Arkansas lost 3-5. Mississippi State lost 3-6. A&M lost 3-7. Lost 3-7. 5 and I have them at 4-8. Yeah, 4-8. Just my rough. Just looking at this. Good grief, because those 4. It's just 4 road games, but those are 4 tough road games. Good grief.
I think they can take Miss State because Miss State is such a weird team.
That's true. Yeah, Mississippi State could
I gave them 6-6. I'll give them the win against Penn State with a 4-0 start.
Whoa, Cadillac gonna do it to him, so it's totally fair.
Yeah,
I'm worried about James Franklin.
I'm thinking James. Quarterback wise, if it's Calzada, I don't know how good they'll be.
Calzada.
I like what's his name, Demetrius Davis. He's going to be I think at this point he'll be a redshirt freshman. He's just a cool, fun, athletic dude. I don't know how he is throwing, but I just know he's a good athlete. So I don't know, put him out there. He seems fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's Auburn. It'll be fun.
It will be fun. Well, that was fun. That was a good episode. Hopefully you all enjoyed watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please consider subscribing and or liking our video, and of course subscribe to our channel. But yeah, we really appreciate any love shown towards us, as it says below. Helps us grow. We're trying to really pay attention to YouTube more this upcoming year and really grow, and we hope that you're all here for the growth. If you have any comments, please comment below on YouTube and we'll get back to it, or just tweet us at tportalcfb. And Josh, any last words?
Yeah, we've got a video that's getting worked out. We had a Q&A podcast a week or 2 ago, and there was a question that didn't get in on time. It was about NIL, and I worked on it, and it should be coming out soon. We don't know. It's about an hour of me just rambling on NIL, but I think hopefully you can get something out of it, because I learned there's a lot with NIL that even me as a real big college sports fan still didn't know about. And for my friend who asked it, who doesn't really pay attention to college sports, you better watch it or I will hunt you down, because I know where you live. Yeah, but otherwise, y'all have a good one.
Yeah, there is a lot more that goes into NIL than just Stetson Bennett showing up for a day working the drive-thru at Raising Cane's. A lot more goes into that. Any last words from you, Doug?
I just realized we totally goofed over not mentioning Miami's coaching hires with Jamil Aday still in the Georgia defensive backs coach, and then pulling Josh Gaddis from Michigan.
Yeah.
I'll
Talk
say
about
that
next movie.
That's true.
I'll sum it up in 10 seconds. Cristobal waited till the deadline for his assignment. Then he pulled out what appears to be at least a B-, B+, B+. So good job, Cristobal.
Gaddis doesn't move me, but that's just me, I guess, or me and some others.
So
I don't know.
Quick question, because I know you hated Lashley too. Gaddis or Lashley?
I'll take Gaddis's upside, I guess, and not knowing what he's gonna cook up at Miami. Lashley, I can't stand. Lashley's the same old vanilla stuff. It's awful. It's so predictable. But before we get off topic and have to do a whole nother goodbye. Yeah, again, thank you for watching. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
Good day.
Peace out, y'all.